Welcome to another episode of Parenting Teens Advice Redefined for Today's World, where we have the honest, raw, and sometimes very difficult conversations where we can support our teens in all of their challenges. And we raise these amazing human beings out in the world with confidence and compassion. And today I am excited to say our guest is Sam Mitchell, host of the award-winning podcast, Autism, Rockin, Rolls. Sam is an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, TED Talk presenter, and autistic self-advocate who is reshaping how we talk about success, identity, and neurodiversity. With tens of thousands of downloads and guests like Dr. Tempo Grandin and Mick Foley, Sam's work powerfully changes the idea that autistic individuals need to be fixed and instead invites us to redefine what thriving really looks like. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hey, buddy. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. I know it says Gina Mitchell at the bottom.
I'm glad to have you.
That's not me. That's supposed to say Sam, but technology can be a real pain in the butt.
Got that right every time. So Sam, tell us first of all, what is your story? Why are you doing this podcast? Why are you doing your own podcast? Tell us all about Sam.
All right. So what I do is I run a podcast called Autism, Rockin, Rolls. It's a podcast about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. Through the podcast, it's grown so much. I developed sponsors, a board of Canada to the boss out in Orlando, but my story began when I was diagnosed at 4. I had classic textbook signs of autism according to my parents. And I found out about my high school's media club when I was a sophomore, and it just clicked with me after I joined.
That's amazing. And at 4, you were diagnosed at 4. So when you say your parents went about getting this diagnosis, what was it they were seeing?
Hold on a minute. Hey, Mom. She may not be available. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, that's okay.
She might be better to tell you than I do because I was too little to tell you that. I just think she'll give you the exact answer compared to my answer. Because mine will just be very bland and basic. Okay. Give me 1 sec. She might answer, guys. We'll see. Hey, are you available right now? Okay, never mind. Okay, cool. Thanks. She's not available at the moment, so what I do is I'll tell you what I remember. From what I remember, it was very classic symptoms. I guess I didn't look at you when you said my name, and I didn't look at the camera. Those are the only two I unfortunately can remember. But I'm sure I've done more. I'm sure there was more.
Fair enough. So I guess I want to start with, because we're talking to parents here, and parents, of course, who have kids who are on the spectrum, what I would love to ask is, from your lived experience, what do parents most misunderstand about what their autistic teens need from them, especially when it gets to high school?
That's a great question. I would say from parents is attention. Because when we're hitting puberty, we act like we're a big bad wolf. We don't want help, but we're big babies inside. Trust me. My mom is an 8th grade teacher, and she deals with us every day. So she has to deal with babies, but also they want to be the big bad wolf half the time. I think it's the same thing with autism. You have to let them fall, but also be there to support them at the same time when it especially comes to teenagers, because teenagers are going through a lot. They're going through puberty, social media, learning the ropes of that, because there's good parts and bad parts about social media, and really trying to figure out their own personal identity that's not mommy and daddy's kid.
That's a good point. So if parents are going to support...
And from a personal standpoint, before I try to interrupt you, but before I interrupt, I like to say that probably being a teenager, though, was my favorite part of the lifespan so far, because it's in the middle. You could still be a kid, but you also have some adult responsibilities. Maybe you had to take the trash every day and go clean your room, but you could go to a big birthday party at 16 years old after you got your chores done.
Interesting. That's a really good perspective. So in parents wanting to support independence and confidence in their teens on the spectrum without pushing them towards like neurotypical expectations that don't fit, how can parents support that independence?
Parents can support that independence by, I think, using their own parents' perspective. Ask maybe the mom or dad, when did you let me fall and when did you let me get help? In the sense, because you do have to teach your teenagers. You do. You have to teach them right from wrong, I think, but I think you still have to work out the aspects of adulthood very slowly.
That's a really good point. Ask the people who raised you.
Right, and everyone has their own view on parenting, but when they fail and when they lift you up, I can tell you it's probably going to be different from each parent.
Yeah. Is there a way, are there conversations, like how would you say would be the best way to talk to your teen if you know that they're struggling at high school without sounding like you need to do this or this is the way it needs to be done? How would you appreciate someone asking you as a teen about what's going on, about what kind of support they need?
Be real, give advice, then support. Because as adults, we're real. I mean, it's the real world. They're ready to step out there. It can be dark and scary. You need to be real with them to avoid those bad habits that could lead them down to the wrong road. And you do that by not overbearing them because they're not a child anymore. You step back by telling them what you would do. You then let them make their own choice by you tell them, here's the advice, take it or leave it. But no matter what you do, I will support you.
I love it.
Here's a great example. I can think not the great example, but it's a good one. When we're adults sometimes, and sometimes adults obviously go to jail, and their parents, I don't think, should bail them out at that age.
Interesting.
But if you're a teenager, I think if they are trying to figure out the adulthood world, should you bail them out to a point? Yes. Now, I'm not saying bail them out for murder, but if it's getting drunk, that's what I would do.
Gotcha. Yeah, I totally agree on that one. So, it's interesting. You read your bio and you're very successful. And I think that's incredible. I want to know what you would say to somebody who says, hey, Sam, way to go. You're so successful in spite of being on the spectrum. Or, hey, Sam, you're so successful because you are on the spectrum.
Right. I would say, well, I appreciate, first of all, but I also, I don't want to say expected it, but I mean, the success grew overnight, kind of grew as time went on. Things take time, and that's what we all have to do at points is the podcast growing, it takes time. I didn't get 23.5K downloads overnight. And yes, I am on the spectrum, but those with autism are really capable. And that's a big misconception right there. When someone hears the word autism, they think we're automatically 3-year-olds. I'm not going to lie. There is a population like that. I actually have a couple of friends who, I won't say who they are, but maybe I would say maybe they are possibly 3 or 6 years old mentally. But they have some, though, in the middle who maybe, okay, they can't live on their own, but they can go to work and maybe work at, I think we're a restaurant here, Wendy's. Or you also have people like me who can do the majority of life aspects. But maybe biologically, I would say I am 19 or 20, 21 or 22, despite me being 23. I'm just a little developmentally delayed, and socializing, gosh, that's a challenging aspect right there.
So I have to ask you then, on a side note, because I'm a podcaster and I friggin' love it, but it's social. It's social. So how is this different for you if social development is lagging a little bit? How
I
are you
find
so
that
good at
comical too.
this?
Trust me, I find that very funny. I run a podcast, yet I suck at socializing. I about die laugh when I hear that in my head. But anyway, I think why I like the podcasting aspect is I'm in control. When I'm doing my podcast, I'm the person in control of the interview. When I'm doing interviews with you, for example, I'm in control of my answers. When I'm going out there in public, I don't have control of my answers without there possibly being a consequence.
Interesting. Oh, that's such a good answer. That's so clear. I love that. So let's lead back to your success. So for parents who are worried now, they've got kids in high school and they're so worried about their kids' college or university, work, relationships. What kind of mind shift can you give parents now that will help them move from that fear to more confidence?
I think parents, you have to really, really applaud when they're doing something good for their life. Okay, join the football team with a person with autism who doesn't like the social, but they choose, you know what? I watch football. I like Peyton Manning. I'm going to go join the football team. Applaud that. That's incredible because that could lead to success down the line. I decided to join Media Club. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my parents were doing jumping jacks at celebrating because they didn't choose that for me. I chose to join the Media Club by myself. Another part I did in high school when I was a senior and practically an adult was I got up early and did a CEO class through CEO, Midwest CEO. I had to get up at 5:30. That's an applaud right there, in my opinion, because there's a lot of 18-year-olds who don't want to give up 5:30. Instead, they want to sleep in. I'm one of the few who chose to get up early, not because I wanted to, or not because I had to, but because I wanted to.
Yeah.
That's what we need to look at. Sure, should we get frustrated at the mistakes and not Debbie down it, but address them? Oh yeah, but please applaud when they get their own decisions. That's a step in the right direction because let's be real, every adult has to make their own decision. We definitely should call our mom and dad for advice. I would never say don't do that. That's what they're there for. But you can't say, hey, mommy, daddy, make the decision for me.
Oh, good. I'm hoping not just parents are listening. I'm hoping they're making their kids tune into this. You're so good.
And I'll tell you this, with the person with autism, at points, I've had to tell my mom and dad, listen, I thought for this for 5 freaking hours because I overanalyze. Please make the decision for me. And I'm not thrilled with it. It's embarrassing, but I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah. So if you thought back then when you were in high school, what was it that adults or teachers or even parents would say or do that was very frustrating? And how can parents or teachers avoid that mistake? It sounds like your parents were super supportive, but did you come up against other adults or teachers in your world as a teen that just said things that were just so frustrating that you wish every adult would know not to say?
Well, I think the problem with high school teachers, and this is when the middle generation too, I think sometimes the middle schoolers, and please don't take this the wrong way if you're a teacher out there, believe me, I'm a son of a teacher, so I love teachers more than ever. But when we get older, I think the teachers stop caring about us personally and cares more about us academically. Stop that. Come on. I think there should be a level balance where the teacher should, I don't want to say be an elementary school teacher clearly and asking about their personal life, but get to know your student. And especially someone with autism. When you show this teacher has our back, we're bowing down because we think no one has our back. But I can give you a great example of this too. I won't say which teacher, but one of the teachers, specifically at my high school, and this was one time a scenario, it was one of my friends who asked the teacher and just told the teacher about something else that was really irrelevant with academics. All she did said was cool and went on to talk about academics. Now, I don't hate this teacher at all. Believe me, if I wasn't for this teacher, I would have never succeeded in graduating high school. But in my head, I thought, why did you not ask more about it? You shouldn't care about only our English paper we need to write. You should care about what we're doing in our life. The same teacher, I told her about my podcast, Getting Temple Grandin. She asked a couple of questions, and I was very happy she did. But then after those couple of questions, it was cool. Moved on.
That's great. That's such a good answer. I'm a parent advocate myself. I go into schools and kind of help parents have a voice in a school. But parents, they're exhausted from advocating for their kids, from meetings and emails and fighting the system. What actually helped you in school feel seen and supported that people could do that your parents don't, what made you feel supported and what made you feel not supported?
Well, I think what helped me seem supported was doing what I wanted to do within reason. Mm-hmm. If it's against a school rule, don't encourage that. Don't encourage them to wear a dress shirt that's going to show their boobs or the belly if they're a female. That's mm-hmm. not right. But joining the media club, go for it. Good job, son. Good job, daughter.
Yeah.
And knowing the laws too, that's a great one too. I know I talked about earlier, the teachers don't care about us academically, but they need to care academically. They need to know the laws with 504s, especially teenagers, because some teenagers with autism who don't know how to socialize might be getting bullied and they don't know. They might be getting robbed by the system and they don't know.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to be your child's advocate by doing the research and educating yourself with IEPs, but also if they're going through something and they're like, I don't know, this child was my friend here, or this peer of mine was being a bully, or was he being sarcastic? What was going on with this situation? I can't tell you how many times I had to talk to my mother. Here's the situation. What was going on? I can't read between the lines.
So good. So I guess I want to say then too, so if parents are just kind of lying awake, I've talked to, many adults on the spectrum now on the podcast, and they didn't all have supportive, amazing parents by the sounds of at least what your mom was like. So we're going to have parents just laying awake thinking that they're failing their kid. What would you want them to know from someone who has lived that experience and thrived in that experience?
To clarify real quickly, you asked me to tell the parents or the children?
The parents.
Okay, thank you. So what I would tell the parents is, if you're not doing the job, you're screwing themselves. It's going to cost them in the long run. And I don't think it's fair for a child to have to possibly learn what identity they are, boy or girl, by themselves. They might want to be the big bad wolf, but trust me, there are points when to step in. Step in. Yeah. Even if your child doesn't want to, trust me, they might thank you down the long line.
Yeah. So, and we know that there's, varying challenges for kids on the spectrum. How can parents, and I know parents listening have, kids who shut down or melt down or withdraw. How can a parent stay connected when this is happening, when they're in the middle of it?
That's a great question because I try to learn that myself. But when it comes to a shutdown or meltdown, what's worked for me personally is you need to leave me alone. Back off.
Okay.
Back off, buddy. Because the more you bother me, the more angry, and it's likely I'm going to blow up because those on the spectrum have anger issues.
Yes.
So what we need to do, at least in my eyes, is calm down by ourselves. Maybe, for example, you still have the rules. So maybe they have this big blow up meltdown, and the teenager, because they're so angry, because for me personally, when I get angry, I see red and I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah.
And they end up punching a teacher. Now, I've never punched a teacher. I'm not saying encouraging, please punch a teacher. I would never say that. But let's just say the kid with autism gets so mad and they just end up giving Miss Trisha a hook. Well, I think the parents should understand. I understand you got angry. We'll follow your IEP because maybe there is some emotional handicap for it, and there is IEPs for emotionally handicapped. I understand why you got angry. We're going to have your IEP and have your back, but you need to go apologize to Miss Trisha. It's still holding to that standard as you made a mistake. What can you do to fix it? Yeah. How you fix it is apologizing and then maybe take your consequence. And whatever that consequence is, I don't know what it would be. Maybe detention or something, but that's up to the principal, not me.
Yeah. So my last question, I guess, is about...
Come in. Yeah, I think she had a couple of questions for you. Okay. Yeah, she might give you more of an answer than me, or like I told you. So.
Okay.
Sorry, I was doing taxes.
Oh, you're fine. Take your time. Can you squeeze in here?
Yeah, I can.
This is the lovely Gina Mitchell, who actually won a Phenomenal Mom Award, believe it or not.
I did. I'm Mother of the Year in the state of Indiana.
Oh my God.
Maybe last year.
2 years ago.
No, it wasn't 2 years ago. Oh, man. It was last year, I think.
I somehow I did it.
Yep, and the teacher.
Congratulations.
8th grade.
I do.
Oh, 8th grade. I tried 8th grade for a little while. I had to get to high school. I couldn't stand it. So my hat is off to you, my friend.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a tough gig some days.
Yeah, I told her they want to be the big bad wolf, but also want to be babied.
They're stuck.
So Sam said at the beginning that he was diagnosed at 4, and based on some of the traits that you were noticing. And so I asked him what those traits were, and that's why he was calling you. So do you recall?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sam was my first child, and he is an only child too. But
love it.
So
I am too.
I have a brother. So anyway,
sorry.
I didn't really know, like I had lots of cousins, but I mean, we had a pretty traumatic birth. I had to have an emergency C-section. So that was really scary. But then as Sam got older, when we look back at pictures, he never looked at the camera. I mean, from like 1 month old, he was not looking at the camera, but I didn't detect that. But the biggest behaviors that we saw was he did everything late. So he rolled over, crawled, walked, pulled up in a month. Like I was concerned, like he was literally like 11 months old and he wasn't doing any of these things. And so he finally just did. And so I don't know if that has something to do neurologically, why his brain kind of formed the way that it did. There's no really studies to prove that. But and then as he got older, he started to play with his toys, but he wasn't really playing with them. He was organizing them. He was 1 year old and knew he had this plastic food that my mom had gotten for him at like a discount store. And there was like 500 pieces of, like, there was an egg and there was a little box of cereal. And he would, instead of, like playing grocery store, he would organize them by fruits or by vegetables, and then like the ones that were bumpy. And so he had these really sophisticated, elaborate groups, and we were like, how is he doing that?
And same we're dealing with monster trucks too. I remember you told me instead of smashing monster trucks, I was lined up by color. I always organized the yellow monster trucks, green monster trucks.
Yeah.
Even myself, I think, how does a 3-year-old do that?
No, like 1-year-old.
Oh, in that case, yeah, how does a 1-year-old do that?
We were just blown away. So me having a little bit of, at that point, an educational background, I said to my husband, maybe he has autism. And my husband said he's way too smart. So now we know, well, yeah, I mean, people that have autism are very intelligent.
Let's look at Albert Einstein. That's a great example.
But then he started to have like sensory issues. And then that was kind of debilitating sometimes. He would, not like his clothes on him. He wouldn't, he would scream if there were loud noises, like spontaneous, unexpected noises. And he lined everything up. And I mean, you messed with his stuff, he would have major, major meltdowns. And so it was pretty classic textbook autism. So when he was 3, I put him in a special education preschool so that the experts there could, observe him. And we had a wonderful preschool teacher that came through and said, I can't diagnose him, but I'm fairly certain he's on the autism spectrum. So we went through a behavioral psychologist at his school, at the school that I taught at and I currently teach at. But he was diagnosed through the school. And it was a relief. It was scary, but we had a name for it, and we were able to get him services. The early intervention is really, really important. And I really credit that to his success level. A lot of it is that we just got to work and helped him be successful, with the way that he thinks. So that's kind of how Sam Mitchell came to where he is now.
That's incredible. I'm so glad you popped in here. And can I ask you, while you're here, I know you didn't agree to be on the podcast, but
don't worry. Sometimes I have to tell her, hey, you may be in callback in case parenting questions like this pop up.
I love it. What a great partnership.
You agree with it regardless.
I'm glad I brushed my hair, but go ahead.
No, you're good. So if parents are listening right now and they have teens on the spectrum, what would be your, best advice in instilling the confidence and, what Sam has? Obviously, it's not just on their own. It's parents doing what they do, and clearly got Mother of the Year award. So there you go. But would you tell parents who are sitting there, going, they're having meltdowns at school and I don't know how to deal with the teacher. And in an advocacy sort of piece, what would you tell parents who are not in the spot that you were, but you had got the resources, you got the early interventions? Let's say somebody's got a kid in grade 9 and it's just all going to shit, mm-hmm. and they don't know how to handle it. What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, the first thing that I think of is, with like any child, if there's something going on that's like hindering functioning level, or it's hindering school, or it's, there's big blow-ups in the family, okay, that needs to be fixed. But as far as them being on the autism spectrum, we should never try to fix them. The behavior, if it isn't appropriate, of course, we want to take like steps to help them. Society is not built for those on the spectrum.
Oh, no. Get rid of rain. That would be really helpful. That's a great example right there.
Or just the policies that are just society in general. So sometimes we have to think, okay, like we got to stand in their shoes because they're existing in a society that, companies don't build things for them. Mm-hmm. They have to figure out their world in another world. And so that's kind of the way I kind of looked at it was, yeah, he's really upset right now. And he's not allowed to punch a wall. He is not, he doesn't.
I told her that already.
He doesn't get a free pass for that. Never, ever get a free pass for that. But on the flip side of that, you do have to help them through it. And if that means that they say, I'm going to blow up right now, I need to go take a walk and you need to get away from me, then you got to do that. And you can't, if they are having a meltdown, I don't care if they're 17 or 55. If they're having a meltdown, you can't stop it. And as long as people are not getting like hurt, then you gotta, the only way through it is through it. And so I've had lots of people say, like, how can I stop making them have a meltdown? You don't. And don't try, because think about if you were, like you or I were really, really upset about something and we're crying. And that would be like somebody saying to us, like,
get over your father dying. That'd be a great example right there.
Yeah, like I recently lost my dad. And
sorry.
It's been a total nightmare. And
for me too.
It's been for all of us. I mean, he was like the backbone of our family. And that would have been like somebody, it's been pretty rough, but we are definitely getting through it. But that would be like somebody saying to me, like, you need to stop crying about your dad. That's exactly what it would be like. And you can't, it's through it, but then the behaviors that sometimes come with that, you have to help them understand, because you did this, now there's a consequence. You know, I know you felt really out of control, but we got to figure out what you can do whenever you feel like that, because that's not going to work anymore. And so I think that's what we had to do was, you know, Sam tried a couple of times to say, oh, remember, I can't do that. I have autism. I'm sorry. Like,
I mean, I got smacked in the back of the head for that a couple times.
I mean, I did never let him, and he tried a couple of times, but I'm like, it still has to happen. So we got to figure out a way for this to happen. So I don't think you make excuses, but you do have to understand you're not going to change brain wiring because you don't like how the brain's wired. That shouldn't be the thing.
That is such a good answer. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask, can I ask you each one more question? Because now that you're both sitting here, it's just hitting me that. Okay, mom first, Gina. What is the one thing, and I'm sure there's a million, what is the one or two things that you have learned from Sam?
Probably acceptance. Sam wants to be accepted like any other human being, no matter what is happening. Sam wants friends. Sam wants a girlfriend. Sam wants to live independently. And there were times where I was probably like, okay, this is never going to happen. I know I won Mother of the Year, but probably didn't deserve it all the time.
No, you didn't. I hate to say this, even though I did, you didn't. She got Mother of the Year partially though because of me, but it's also she takes a lot of kids that don't really have the best home lives and literally becomes their mother. I have a friend who kind of has one of a rough life, and she calls her mom. That says anything.
I've been mom to many, many people, but I think that's the biggest thing is Sam has taught me, you know, like, quit trying to change things. Like, stop trying to change me, because I don't need to change. And that's when I learned, like, okay, I want society to stop trying to change him. Like, why are we not tapping into what he's really good at? Like we do everybody. It shouldn't matter, autism or not. Strength is a strength. And so that's the biggest thing I've learned from him is acceptance and appreciation, like, of who he is. And that's what I would say.
Okay, you got me now. Oh, no, in a good way. In a good way.
They don't feel too bad.
I'm sorry.
No, in a good way. And it's so impactful. I think this is so important. So, Sam, I'm going to ask you the same question.
I'll learn nothing. No, I'm kidding. what I've learned from her is giving back. I mean, there's been points because we've both been mistreated by society. We've both been bullied. We've both been, I think, excluded at points. I mean, even though you're on spectrum, you say you've been excluded at
Oh
points
yeah,
in
I had
life.
a really hard time in high school.
Yeah. We still choose to give back.
Mhm.
And it's because that's just who we are. For the longest time, I thought that because why would I give back to a society that's not giving back to me? And I thought, well, that's not the right mindset. You sound kind of selfish there, buddy.
Well, and I always taught Sam about legacy. You know, you got to make your time here worth it, and that little dash, you know, has to mean something. And you got to think about, what do I want people to say about me when I'm not here anymore? And that has always been really, really important to me, to giving back. Absolutely, like that's way, way up there.
I love that. And for those who don't know what the dash is, I know exactly what you're talking about. When you look at somebody's tombstone and you see the birth date and you see the death date, and there's a dash in between, the dash is how you lived your life. And I love that you just said that.
Mm-hmm.
That is very impactful and powerful. And man, this was just such a, I mean, I knew it was going to be a great podcast, but then Mom jumping in has just made it even more amazing. Thank you, Sam, for calling your mom in. This is so cool. No wonder you won an award. Honestly, I'm not surprised now.
Well, I'll tell you what, what was it I said the other day? I was telling, I think I said it to my students, actually. They were just not listening to me, and I lost my shit. And I said, why do I have to become psychotic for anybody in this room to listen to me? And so I think I probably said that to my family too. Like, why do I have to go into psycho mode?
Yeah, but our families can be very real. It's almost comical. Both sides of the family, let's be honest. We are pit bulls, and we'll tell you how it is, straight up.
Yeah, Sam didn't have a
I
chance.
love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you both so much. Sam, I want to give you a chance to tell people where to find you if they want to talk to you. Thank you, Gina. I so appreciate your time.
Thank you. Take care.
Too. So tell us about Sam and how people can get a hold of you, listen to your podcast. Where do we find it?
All right, I'm not a hard guy to find. You can find me on your favorite media platforms. You can Google me in your search engine optimization. Something will pop up. Just do me a favor. Don't search my name, because you get a basketball player. And I haven't doing any slam dunks lately. So it's the best bet that you try to Google search Autism Rocks and Rolls.
Okay. I'm so moved by this, Sam. I so appreciate your time. This is such a great conversation. And for those listening, honestly, this is the episode to share, to download, to send it out there, because there are parents out there who are just lost in the abyss of autism. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and Sam is showing you where the light is. And I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Sam. Thank you for listening to Parenting Teens Advice Redefined. We will see you next time. Thank you for listening to another episode. I just wanted to share something with you because, parenting teens is not just about managing these challenges that we talk about on all the episodes. It's also about evolving alongside them. And I'm Cheryl, and not only the host of this podcast, but I'm also the creator of Insight to Impact Coaching and Consulting. And I help you, moms of teens, reconnect with your true selves so you can lead with purpose. You can parent with clarity. You can create stronger, more meaningful relationships with your kids. Because here's the truth. The transformation starts with you. Together, we will break free from the stress and overwhelm. We will rediscover your power. We will create the life and the family dynamic you always dreamed of. If you're ready to start this journey, let's do it. You might just not recognize your life in the next 90 days. It all starts with a call. There's no pitch. There's no pressure. Just a call to see if I can help. We'll talk about your goals. We'll talk about what's making you feel stuck and what might be getting in your way. And everything you need to connect with me is in the show notes. Again, I'm Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining me here on Parenting Teens Advice Redefined for Today's Complex World, and the creator of Insight to Impact Coaching and Consulting. Have a great day.